Well, good afternoon, fellow creatives. Tyrannis Cosplay here once again, and something different for me. The Nord is finished. He's done his duty. We've been in the competition, and we're off to Sydney to represent Western Australia, September, October, for Oz Comic Con Sydney, which is, looking on my calendar, September 30th, October 1st. Now, the one thing that I wasn't real keen on, or looking back at my makeup, was the quality of the scar that I had. It looked like a brown dent on my face. This is more what I wanted. So I've had some practice now, and I've got to give a big shout out to my mate Leon at Dark Force Cosplay, who over the weekend had fantastic scarring for both his Logan and his Soldier 76. He gave me some advice. I jumped on the University of YouTube, taken his advice and the stuff that I've learnt on the University of YouTube, and now I think I've got a technique that gives a type of scar that I want. I don't want a fresh bloody scar, and I don't want an old dried scar like the one on my wrist. I want one that is still about halfway between, so almost that sepia kind of result. So I went and did some shopping earlier on today. I can't see you now, you're out of focus. Who have we got there? Ah, look at that, couple of friends hosting us. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate the support there. What I thought I might do is run you through the technique that I'm using now for this scar, which will be the scar effect that I want to use for my Nordic cosplay into the future. I went down to our local department store, not a chemist, nothing fancy, and brought some makeup. Yeah, no. I got 3 of these things here, which are lip liner pencils. You can't see that because of the light and the glare. Lip liner pencils. Got 3 of these. I got this pinky colour, a very definite red, and maroon, because I didn't know what colour I wanted, and they cost $2 each, so that wasn't a biggie. I'm looking at the receipt to make sure I don't give you a furphy. I got a bag of cotton balls, more than enough to last a million years, $3.50. And I got 3 of these matte lip cream sticks in different colours. This red one, a reddy maroon one, this browny tan one, and a different coloured one. And again, they were also on clearance at $2 a pop. So so 3, 6, so 6 there and 6 there, 12, and so $15.50. And the most expensive thing was this stuff, this long-lasting pressed powder, and the idea is that you use the powder so that it doesn't look wet and yucky, and it sets the makeup so that you don't smear it as badly, I believe. So yeah, in total, $28 worth of makeup. There is one item that I did not buy today, which is the rigid collodion. I had that already, and that's what I used for the original scar. And like I said, I wasn't happy with it. It looked like a brown smudge, and that's in the bathroom. So hang on one sec. Okay. So I got the liquid collodion, which most people are familiar with. It is a paint-on scarring liquid, is what it says here, and it tends to, when you paint it on, pucker up the skin and draw it together and make the scar indented, so it gives you a 3-dimensional scar that's not just surfacing. What I'm going to attempt to do is put another scar across this cheek, and I'm going to try and do that without my glasses, which means I won't be able to focus on the screen, and I'm going to have to use my handy-dandy phone as on selfie mode as a bit of a camera, because even the depth from here to the screen is out of focus for me without my glasses on. So yep, that'll work. I can see what I'm doing. As I said, this is a combination of the advice that I got from Leon at Dark Force and what I got from the University of YouTube. So the very first step is I had a look at the lip liner pencils, and I tried all three to see what colour would be best for the base, because you actually draw the scar on first before you do anything with the collagen. I tried the pink one, and for me it was too pink, too beigey, and when I'd finished it looked like a really old healed over scar. It was just a line. So if you're going for a scar, much like where I broke my wrist and you just have, and you can barely see that on the focus in the camera, an old well-healed scar, then go for a soft pink colour. So I'm not going to use that one just yet. The bright red looked bright red and didn't give me the effect, so I ended up going with the Maroni one, the darker one, to give me this darker baseline. So that's what I'm going to do. I draw the scar on my cheek here, and we'll go from there. I had a big clunk or whatever that stuff is. I think it's like a wax or whatever. So, without my glasses on, I'm just going to draw. Wow, that's really hard to focus. And a bit of a a bit of a jagged line, because obviously you're not going to get a nice pencil thin straight scar unless it's a surgical scar, and this isn't. So you draw your line on to give you an idea where it is, and then you widen it out a bit. You give it a little bit of some width, some depth. Now it looks really dark, but processes later on will bring it back to something like that, okay? Well, I can see that in my field of vision on my cheek. That's going to be distracting. Okay, so that's the first thing I did. And then I grabbed the red one and just gave it a little bit of brighter red near the edges. And I don't know whether this step is actually necessary or not, but it achieved that result. So I'm just going to repeat what I did. Okay. I'm just dabbing it with my finger to soften it a bit so it doesn't look so... Okay, now at this stage, this is where I put my liquid collodion on. And without my goggles on, I can't even see where I dropped the cap off of that pencil. It's bad being this blind. That looks like it. Yay. Okay, now with the liquid collodion, the stuff, the scarring liquid, the more coats you put on, the deeper and more intense the scar ends up looking. But you've got to leave it between coats. So this will be interesting, trying to put this on and hold the camera so I can see what I'm doing and not block your view. Okay, so on the line that you've made with the lip liner pencil. Now, I apologise if this ends up all blurry as a scar because, like I said, I can't really focus on what I'm doing. And the one on the other side of my face, I did in the bathroom mirror, where I could lean in or out as far as I needed. So you put on the first coat, leave it for a minute or two, and I can already feel that pulling the flesh together. And because you've got a good meaty amount of flesh there, it's going to pucker up. Now the thing with this stuff is though, if you put it on a muscle that's going to move a lot, it can tend to flake a little bit. And with my Nordic carved armor, I was growling a lot. So I found that my original one that I had over the bridge of my nose, when I scrunched up my nose, all flaked, and it looked like my eczema was kicking in badly. Oh, by the way, yeah, if you're going to put face makeup on and theatrical makeup, of course, wash your face well first so your oily skin doesn't affect the makeup that you're putting on. Okay, so that's long enough for that first coat. Let's if you haven't used any of this scarring fluid, this rigid collodion, be prepared for a bit of a whiff. It's got one of them really nice chemical smells to it, okay? So I don't know if you can see it, but that's already starting to pucker the skin and pull it and make it scar-like. And that second one's really tugging at it tightly. See how vivid and red it is? You could leave it at that stage there if you wanted a relatively fresh looking scar, but there's no life to it, it's all one colour. Whereas this one here has got some pinks and some lighter tones in it. Okay, so I'm only going to put 2 coats of that on there, but again, the more coats of that rigid collodion scarring liquid that you put on, the more intense the scar is for depth and life. Sure. There's that. Then to soften it up a bit is what that pressed powder was for, to set it a little bit. And that's where the bag of cotton buds comes in, cotton balls comes in. No need for one of those fancy $30 makeup brushes. No! A cotton ball dabbed in this stuff and just used to soften it up a bit. And like I said, I can't actually see what I'm doing on the monitor, so really bad selfie camera, guys. I don't know whether I'm blending lines properly or not. So now I've got a real fleshy looking scar across there. And that's where the next stage was this matte lip bit, matte lip cream. And this is what's going to take it from that vivid colour to this lighter colour. And it does that quite dramatically, and it means there's another step to go. Reverse camera. So we go this way. So it's looking a little more realistic now from what I can tell without my glasses on. So let's put my glasses on so I can think well focus, and they obscure. Okay. Now, to bring that back, you can see now it's all kind of bland and not as much life in it as this one. And that's where I just went back to those lip liner pencils and really lightly gave it a light trace with a couple of the colours. So that's that maroon that I used as the baseline. This is the bright red. And I'm not tracing the whole thing, I'm just touching bits and pieces, because obviously with a gory scar, it's not going to be consistent. There's going to be actually reds and a little bit of yellow and white fleshy kind of colours in there. And this is that really light pink. And that's all I did. What was that? That was like 15 minutes to put that scar across that cheek.